This is lesson 4-5, Interpret Two-Way Relative Frequency Tables. And it's going to start on page 246 and go to page 248. This is example 1 on the top of page 246. It says Caden asked 150 parents and students about their preferred method of communication. What percent of people polled were students who preferred email? So you're going to notice that we have Caden's data right here. We have 18 parents prefer email while 12 parents prefer text. 18 students prefer email while 102 prefer text. And we know that he asked a total of 150 parents. You are going to notice that Caden's data is now in a two-way frequency table. All they've added is a total row and a total column. So we are going to go one step further on this, and we're going to make a relative frequency table that shows the ratio of the number of data in each category to the total number. And you can write that as a fraction, a decimal, or a percent. So let's see how this is working. They did the students who like email compared to 150 total people. They divided and multiplied by 100 to get 12%. Well, we can continue doing that. We can say, well, 12 parents like to text. 12 parents like to text out of 150 total people, times 100 to get my percent will give me 8%. And that lives in my new relative frequency table. Let's try again. Let's talk 120 total students. 120 total students out of 150 people surveyed. Change it into a percent, and you will get 80%, and the 80 lives right here. All right, let's do this one more time. We have 36 total emails out of 150 total people, times 100 to make a percent, and that's 24%, and that goes right there. And they did that for every single cell to make a relative frequency table. By doing that, they were able to answer their question, which was what percent of people polled were students who prefer email? Well, students who prefer email is 12%. This is the try it at the bottom of page 246. Asha asked 82 classmates whether they play sports on the weekend. The results are shown in the two-way frequency table below. We're going to use Asha's two-way frequency table to complete the two-way relative frequency table. So let me get started, and then I will have you work on your own. So let's start right here. 21 boys said yes, they play sports on the weekend out of a total of 82. So 21 out of 82, change it to a percent by multiplying by 100, and that will give me 26%. So that's going to go right here. Let's try another one before I let you go on your own. Let's talk about how many girls do not play sports on the weekend. That is 17 girls out of 82 people were asked. Times 100 will change me into a percent, and that's 21%. So 21% of the girls do not play sports on the weekend. All right, it is time for you to see if you can't fill in the rest of these blanks. I want you to go ahead and shut me down, work, and then when you're ready for checking, come on back. All right, we're going to do a couple more together and then I'll just fill in the rest for you. Let's go ahead and do total yes is 47 kids out of 82 were asked. Times 100 makes a percent. 57% goes right here. And let's just do one more. Let's do total boys. 39 boys out of 82 people times 100 gives me a percent, and that's going to be 48%. That lives right there. All right, the rest of these numbers look like this. And you can double check that you're right just by making sure that all your column totals and your row totals equal the correct number. So far, we have been calculating our relative frequency by comparing to the total, but we can also compare relative frequency by rows, and remember rows go this way. All right. So it says use the given data to make a two-way relative frequency table by rows. So let's look at our first row right here, students. There were 42 out of 68. 42 out of 68 will give me 61.8%. Let's do faculty. This is 15 out of 27. Remember, we're just doing rows. 15 out of 27 is 55.6%. Let's do no students. Students who said no, or did not attend. No, 26 out of 68. And finally, let's go no for faculty. 12, ooh, that's hard to see, sorry, out of 27. 12 out of 27 is here. And we have one more row to take care of. 57 yeses out of 95, 60%. And 38 out of 95 is 40%. Now, when we are trying to figure out relative frequency by rows, we only care that at the end of each row, this adds to 100%, this row adds to 100%, and this row adds to 100%. We are not concerned about columns yet. So make sure you know which way you are comparing. Example number 3 now has us comparing by columns. All right, remember columns go up and down just like on the front of a building. Use the given data to make a two-way relative frequency table by columns. All right, so let's go ahead and start. We are comparing 7th and 8th grade and book type. So we have 85 7th graders. Let me change out of a highlighter. 85 7th graders out of 207 7th graders is 41.1%. 122 out of 207 is 58.9%. Let's go 8th graders, ebooks. 125 out of 197 gives me 63.5%. Or 72 audiobooks out of 197 gives me 36.5%. And then finally, I've got 210 total ebooks out of 404 total, 52%. or 194 out of 404 total. Now, just like last time, this time I only really care that my columns add up to 100. And this column adds to 100, and this column adds to 100. I don't care that my rows aren't adding up because I'm comparing by column. So yes, of the 8th graders, 63.5% have checked out an ebook compared to 41.1% of the 7th graders. All right, this is the try it at the bottom of page 247. You're going to want to use the completed two-way frequency, relative frequency table that we just talked about in order to answer A and B. So go ahead and answer those, and when you come back, I will have your answers ready for checking. All right, question A says, how does the percent of students who chose ebooks compare to the percent of students who chose audiobooks? Well, 52% chose ebooks, which is greater than the 48% who chose audiobooks. Part B says, is there evidence that 7th graders have a greater tendency to choose audiobooks? Explain. Well, yes, there is. 59% of 7th graders checked out an audiobook, while only 37% of 8th graders checked one out. So yes, there's evidence that they have a greater tendency to choose audiobooks. This is your key concept on the top of page 248. Relative frequency is the ratio of a data value to the total of a row or a column or the entire data set. It is expressed as a percent. A total two-way relative frequency table gives the percent of the population that is in each group. In a row two-way frequency table, the percents in each row add to 100. And in a column two-way frequency table, the percents in each column add to 100%.